I think another thing that is really interesting when we think about our millionaire population is our mindset. How do they view money, or how specifically they view the world around them? And it's so interesting that when we ask the question of our millionaires, hey, do you consider yourself an optimist or a pessimist? 84% of our folks said, hey, I'm an optimist. The glass is half full. Things are generally better than I thought they would be, and things are generally improving.
The optimists of our clients didn't surprise me because, I mean, no shocker. I think everybody would know I'm an optimist too. If you hang out with me, I'm very optimistic for the future, even when crazy stuff's going on. The thing that really blew my mind is Daniel, when he was doing show prep, he shared a stat with me that 47% of the U.S. population is consider themselves optimists, according to a lot of the research.
So that means the other half.
Yeah, so it's almost half. I mean, so it's not the majority are optimists. Mm-hmm. And I think there's something big to take away from this is not only you might want to think about, hey, what is my worldview on how I perceive the future to be? If you do find that it's always negative and maybe a lot of your peers and your friends that are surrounding you, they're all negative, is that the right path, or is there a way you should start looking to turn those lemons into lemonade, or find the silver lining? Because this is something that is consistent, no matter if it's our research, if it's Ramsey Solutions, Millionaire Next Door. Optimists are the ones that typically create success. Mm-hmm. It's not the villains, the people doing bad stuff, and it's not the victims. Look, we all victims. I get nervous saying that, but it is one of those things where I want you to use whatever bad stuff that's happened in your life, the trauma, the bad things, use that to see if you can find an energy source off of it to push you into the optimist column and actually find some wins and create success for yourself.
Brian, you and I, we've been working together now for decades, and you've given me tons of great advice over the years, but I think probably one of the best pieces of advice you ever gave me, you said, Bo, look, as you age, as you move along in your career and your marriage, and all this, there's going to be a voice inside your head. And we all have it. That voice exists for all of us. And what you have to recognize is the way the tone you allow that voice to have will affect all aspects of your life. If you allow it to be negative, oh, well, so-and-so makes more money than me, or so-and-so had better opportunities, or so-and-so did this, or so-and-so. If you allow that voice to be negative, it's going to naturally pull you in a negative direction. But if you can consciously think through, hey, I'm going to have a positive voice inside my head. Hey, so what that that person makes more? I can be a better saver. So what that that person had that opportunity? It's okay. I can go do this. And if you can flip that around, it's amazing how that will permeate all assets and facets of your life. And I think it leads to a much more fulfilling, abundant life if you can do that.
Well, you say abundant. It's so funny because I sit here and think about my shower thoughts. Is that I'm in there shampooing my head, and I really do ask myself, y'all gonna think I'm so hokey for saying this, but I sit there and I think, what am I going to do today to move that in a small way that's still going to create more abundance? And I really do feel that way in a lot of things that I do in my life. And I think that, and if you ever go to marriage counseling, the first thing they're going to talk about is exactly what you talked about. What is that voice inside of your head saying? Because if you can just do the right thing and retrain that brain, I think you'll figure out that it's amazing that the positivity will naturally change things. It's almost like the subconscious changes. Yeah. I mean, and look, I don't want to belabor the point, but I go to conferences forever, and everybody's always like, write down ideal clients, write down where you want to be. And I'm like, this is a bunch of hooey. Why would I do this? I finally got fed up after about the third or fourth year, did it, and then I was shocked to see the makeup of my clients completely change. It's the exact same thing. I don't believe in the whole mantras and magical things that we've reacted to on TikToks, but I do think if you can shape that voice, it will change your future.
You know, not only is mindset important and the way that you think about your mental health, but another thing we thought was really interesting is how do millionaires approach their physical health? How well do they take care of themselves? Or are they these folks who just work 100 hours a week and they go from sun up to sundown and they kind of say, you know what, I'll worry about my health later? It was really, really interesting. We asked the question, how often do you exercise? How often are you focusing on physical health? And the vast majority of our folks exercise more than 3 days a week. So there are more days of the week that they're exercising than less. Only about 15% said I don't exercise. It's not for me, not something I want to get into. We only get one body. You only get one shot. And there's no point in saving up all this money and building up all this abundance and making all these deferred gratification decisions if we're not staying healthy enough that we can actually enjoy it later in life.
Yeah, I think, I think about my childhood and I think about eating choices of like loved ones. And I feel like we have so much more knowledge now about what lifestyle does, what exercise does. And I would tell you, as a person who is approaching, I guess, my 6th decade on the planet, which, gosh, that sounds crazy to say. But it is one of those things where I would encourage you to really think about, because there's a fork in the road moment as you cross into your 40s, where you just can't eat whatever you want. Mm-hmm. You just can't assume that you're always going to heal as fast as you have in the past. So go ahead and make a proactive choice. Just like you're taking a decision to take a little bit today for that great, big, beautiful tomorrow with your finances. Do the exact same thing with your body, mm-hmm. and actually be very deliberate with how you eat, how you exercise. And because if you can have those things, I think you'll find that it not only helps you financially, because you're just going to be more have a purpose with everything that you're doing in life, and all of it aligns well.
Now, I think, I don't remember if you told me this, so I'm going to give you credit for it, even if you didn't. You said that as we age, our body's going to hurt. It's going to be sore. It's naturally going to hurt. You get to choose. Is it because of your working out and exercising? Is it that kind of soreness? Or if you're not doing that, your body's going to find other ways to hurt. That's the aching backs, aching hips. You get to choose that, just like most things in life. If you can put in a little bit of hard work today, the payoff for it down the road will be huge.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I have a bad bum ankle from basketball, and it's if I take 3 weeks off of working out, that ankle starts hurting. But as soon as I go back to the gym and I start exercising, it's always the muscle soreness or something. But somehow that ankle, and I really do think, and I've told you that, is I think my body is like, hey, I'm going to give you a choice. We're either going to let you choose where you ache,
hurt, or I'm going to choose.
If you just sit back and become complacent, I'm going to let that ankle kind of be the thing that gives you trouble.
I want to be very clear. That's not medical advice. We don't know if that's true or not. It just seems anecdotally like it works really, really well.
Yeah, I haven't.
Here's another question that we asked our millionaires. We thought this was so interesting, specifically given where we are in our economic cycle right now. We asked them, hey, when you bought your first home, how much did you put down? Because surely you would think millionaires had to have made great financial decisions to get there. They had to do the hard things. And we know that, the common thread is 20% down on your first home. You got to have a 20% down payment. So is that, in fact, what our millionaires did?
And I've shared many times, because we eat our own cooking, I don't want to be a hypocrite in the fact that I didn't put down 20% on my first home. You didn't put down 20%. Went around and asked all of our financial advisors, how many of you put down 20% on your first home? And the funny thing to me is that the stat pretty much looks like this, and the fact that only 19% of our clients put down 20%. The rest were all over the place. 24% put down 10 to 20%. 29% put down 5 to 10%, and then 27% put under 5%.
So if you are someone who's trying to get into that first home, maybe you are an aspiring millionaire and you want to make that decision, give yourself a little bit of grace. If I can't come up with 20% down, it's okay. If I can only come up with 3 to 5% down, that's going to be okay. So long as I make sure I keep my total housing costs inside of 25% of my gross income. If I can do that, I'm not shortchanging myself. But when it comes time to upgrade, when it comes time to buy that second house, when it comes time to move up the lifestyle, then we do think 20% is a requirement, is something that you absolutely should do.